We are on line. So, yeah,
Call it order, sir.
budgeting's, the meeting's to order,
Meeting's ordered.
so you can do it, I guess, like some.
Okay, go ahead and please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. I've got on mine. I have Brenda Epp,
Yes.
Sherry Harris,
Yes.
Hank Mast is not here, Robert Labria here, Bill Starnes here, and Steve Rhodes, Fire Chief.
Here.
Thank you. I'm gonna go over the review of the 16-17, so I'm in the budget process, so I'm gonna turn this over to Steve.
So I was gonna go over the role of the board and the budget committee tonight, and how I might do that is we have a big, huge budget law thing here. PowerPoint, there's only about 15 of them in here, so I'm gonna scan through them just to cover what we've actually done so far in the first place. As we start this, there's 4 phases to the budget. We propose it, we approve it, we adopt it, and then you can change afterwards. So we're actually have approved the budget after the budget committee thing. So we're at number 3 tonight. And then you can change it later. You guys have the right to change it. Purposes of budget law. Let's see here, districts, districts that are, this is a lot of stuff we already talked about. So why do you follow budget law? I just wanted to let you know, especially tonight without the resolution, if we don't appropriate the tax money, we can't legally spend it. So that's why we have to be here tonight. And you also certify the taxes to the county assessor. And let's see, they can void our property tax if it's contrary to the law. One last quick thing is civil liability. Any public official who expends it in excess of amounts that we authorize can be held civilly liable. So welcome to government. All right, let's see. I had something here about, we didn't go through the budget calendar already. What is a budget? Just to touch on the fact that our budget is a financial plan for the year for aware of our money in the bank. And this is a snapshot of June 30th, 2017 at 11:59 at night, just before we go into next year's budget. So that's why, all of the line items and everything are filled with the total amount that we would spend for that year. So it's an estimate. We're trying to estimate what it would be like next year at this time. And in the past, we've talked about spending unappropriated funds and stuff during the year. And this is, again, that budget, that's a snapshot 1 year from now, so you don't have to worry about it during the year. Let's see, where is it by funds? Okay, types of funds. These are the only types of funds we can have. So our funds, we have a general fund. We have our equipment fund is actually a reserve fund and was established that way back when. And then the grant fund we created is actually a trust and agency fund. So we have 3 funds. And those definitions, I have a definition sheet printed out if anybody ever wants to take a look at it. Let's see, estimated property taxes, we've gone through all that. We're going to go way down here now. Budget requirements, control that. Let's go way down here then. We're at 21 here. What's this at? 19. Let's see. I'm going to go back to the budget print tonight. So let's see. Let's find that down here. Format, budget resources, estimated property taxes. I can put a page down this one. Anyway, this is a full-blown class if anybody ever wants to look at it. You can get it online or it goes way in, it goes into all the community college districts and all that other stuff too, so it goes way over what, it even has some tests. That's pretty good.
Where is this at?
It's at the Department of Revenue website, and I can give you a piece of paper.
There's also budget law booklet
Right.
which I can put on our district computer, so that it can be accessible anytime
Oh,
any of you want to see it. This is the cover
Going to the
page.
end.
of that
And you
thing.
can put this on our.
And
on our
yeah,
website.
I had downloaded it onto my computer, and I can put it on this computer.
all right.
And
let's
it
see.
includes most of what he's showing from the PowerPoint.
That's after the budget, so I'm trying to find one in here about. Okay, let's see. It's a good test here about how to. Okay, let's see here. It should be up there, let's see. Just the budget. I lost the page because I was going, I hit end by. Okay, resolution document. Okay, just about there. All right, here's the, so we're holding a budget hearing for the public. You hold it on the date published, the LB1 is the thing we put in the paper, actually is a notice and it's a summary of our budget for everybody. So the budget as approved by the budget committee, any person may comment on the budget. After the budget hearing, we can change it, you guys can change it if you want to during the year. Any fund in 10% or more, 5,000. And there's different ways to go through that. If it's more than that, then you have to go through a supplemental budget and a whole nother hearing. And if it's less than that, you guys can do it by resolution. After we go through this budget hearing right now, then we'll have a resolution to enact at our regular meeting in a few minutes, and that adopts the budget, makes appropriations, imposes a tax levy, and categorizes each tax. We already, I think by looking at the budget or the resolution, it just tells everything that's in the resolution. And I was gonna go over that just so we can, I know Jerry had a couple questions because the numbers aren't the same as on the budget, and they're also not the same as on the LB1 because they're looking for different things. I guess that's all I wanted to say about the budget process. Okay. So, we talked about at the budget meeting the changes we had made in the budget. Do you guys remember them all? We, let's see here. We changed some terminology just because of the what the Department of Revenue recommended. A couple of the line items got dropped off. If they go off to 3 years in a row at zeros, you can drop them off. We'll be dropping off this grant fund next year because that's not where we list grants anymore. Personnel services, they said we could drop those off. I don't really want, I mean, we don't have any, but it seems like it'd be something that you'd want on there possibly for the future out. The other supplies and equipment down here will be dropped off next year. That's what we used to buy fire equipment out of. This year we added, we have a contingency and it's smaller. I just want to review the contingency is supposed, the definition of it is that it's what you would expect to spend in 1 year that maybe was unforeseen. So we were carrying a large balance in a contingency the last couple of years as a reserve fund, and that's not really what it is. It's a fund that's designed to be, if something came up that year, you could spend it. So then, that also means that any extra money needs to go somewhere. So the equipment fund or reserve fund is where you keep money for future purchases. So that's what we're doing this year, is transferring it to it. We also reinstituted the unappropriated imbalance down here, and that's the one, that's kind of a marker that your district is, I guess, doing the right thing, because that's an emergency, a total backup. If anything ever goes wrong, we have enough money to operate for the 6 months till our taxes come. And that's something that the Department of Revenue looks at as a marker on everybody's budget. And then we changed some of the stuff around here so that it all added up pretty. Let's see, I just went to end again. Anyway. They had me add capital outlay, organizational unit capital outlay to each, all the expenditures, because that's what it is. That's the official wording for it.
So just to clarify, Steve, changes that you made were based on consultations you had with
Right.
the Oregon State Department of Revenue?
Yeah, I was dealing with Melanie Cutler and then Rebecca Hall, and I've kept all my email conversations with them. They actually went through the chief at lookingglassfire.org, but I printed them out, and I printed the samples I sent to them and how they corrected them and sent them back. So if anybody ever wants to take a look at that. I know that there was some issues in the past about transferring money into our equipment fund, and that's really where it should go. Whether we spend it on equipment or not, it needs to, that's a reserve fund, and that's where the money should be held for future purchases. So last year they had a category called capital expenses undesignated. That they weren't very happy with that at all. They don't want money sitting around that's not designated for something.
Just allocate it to something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it can be just say, all you have to do is say reserve for future use.
Okay.
And that is not appropriated to be spent this year though. But, and that was another thing is everybody said, well, then if it's not appropriated, you can't spend it. That's not true. If we have to, if something came up where we did something, we'd have to go through a supplemental budget process, another budget hearing and all that, which is actually just more transparency. It makes, you have to sell it to the public that you're going to do it. We added a small contingency to the equipment fund, or to the reserve fund also, of $10,000. We never had one in there before. I don't anticipate using it, but, and I think that was about it. Again, in the grant fund, we added the organizational unit capital outlay. The budget ended up being a little bit smaller just on all the numbers here compared to the past years because of, there's no FEMA grant in here. We'll be going for that again next year. So when you look at the resolution, these two numbers here, the total appropriations and the total reserve unappropriated should match what's on the resolution. I'm pretty sure it does. So that was the changes for the budget. That was the budget as approved by the budget committee. So I know this would be the time for public comment on the budget.
We welcome any public comment.
All right, where's the resolution? Resolution. I want to talk a little about the resolution. When I flip through that PowerPoint thing really fast. So the four things we do is we adopt the budget. That's the very first thing right there. Then we make appropriations. So if you look at it, it's taking all the money from any of those things that are listed as fire and EMS organizational unit and adding them up, and that's the appropriated money. The end balance for the general fund and the reserve for future use are not appropriated. So if you add up that and the 15,000 up there, that'll add up. So that'll all add up to those numbers that are on the resolution.
Could you drop that down here again?
Yeah, up or down?
Drop it down so I can see page 1.
Oh, page 1.
I have different numbers in, this is last year's.
What are you looking for?
I have different numbers, dude.
For what?
2016-02, because this is what I'm looking at, the resolution, correct?
Right.
Mine, yours says materials in service, for example.
For is 4601.
But I don't,
It should be 4801. And this is 18.4.
no, I have something different. I don't know how I got something different. Did you send more than one?
Yeah. The one that I have that you sent is different.
Oh, yeah, okay, yours, no,
It
excuse me.
starts out with fire
Stop.
EMS organizational.
We'll stop this right now.
Okay.
Um,
Does that make sense?
You're right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because what happened was she had me edit that resolution and take all those things out. Here it is right here, I'm sorry. Gosh, I'm taking you through the one that I sent to her.
Okay, so this is the new one.
So here's what happened.
Oh, that's
The
better.
little one had all the line items in here, and she says, no, you combine all that fire and organizational unit together.
Okay,
There's a transfer to the equipment fund, there's a contingency. There you go.
okay, good.
That's right, because those
Thanks for
didn't-
catching that.
Thank you, Hank. I mean, thank you,
I'm looking on, sure.
Right.
man, I've been buried in these. So anyway, okay, so you do that for each fund, and it made it a lot simpler. So the appropriations are what we're appropriate to spend this year, then the requirements are the combination of everything that's not appropriated and is appropriated. So requirements is actually all the money that's in the thing. Here, would you like the resolution? That's what we're going over. We have some public, we'll get a
You got
comment.
another one there?
A couple?
And I think they're the right ones too.
Okay.
You guys want some? You want them? Jerry, all right.
I have.
I'll take an extra few because I
Okay, so, let's do, okay, so we're approving the budget, is the first, you're adopting the budget, excuse me. You're making appropriations in each fund, and then you're imposing the tax, which is the third thing. It's ad valorem property tax, and all that means is it's per thousand at the permanent tax rate. And then you're categorizing it, meaning that it's our permanent tax rate. If you had an option levy or something else, those would all have to be listed there. And then the above resolution statements were approved. If this isn't formatted, I know Jerry, I did this in Word, and if it's not formatted right, as long as the numbers stay the same, if you guys want to take this and format it, it would just be the numbers.
The only thing I see is, oh, you got it corrected on that one.
I tried to line up the
Number
ones that
55, 164 on the version you sent was,
it was off.
it was off in the alignment.
So Steve, our next meeting, we have to approve the resolution.
Right, so that's all you have to do.
And then approve the tax and the percentage?
All you have to do is approve the resolution, because
Okay,
it
yeah, approve the resolution.
has all the
Okay.
whole things.
Yeah.
So at this meeting, we need to forward on the budget and the resolution.
Okay. So I'll make a motion.
Is that right, Steve?
Yeah,
We make a motion to
Yeah, we have one more call for a final comment,
Oh,
public comment.
public comment, right?
You guys have any public comment? No? So then the board, any comments you guys want to make? You can make changes if you want here, the board can, or you cannot, and according to the public comment, and
Or any changes that you think you might like to make?
I
I
don't
think
know.
you did a great job.
Does it require a motion then to send it on to the regular board meeting?
Yeah, I guess it would.
Can't hurt by doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'll
so-
move that we forward this budget resolution to the regular meeting for adoption.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion's passed.
Motion's passed, and that's the last business for this budget hearing.
Okay. So, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this budget meeting for 2016-17's budget.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
Second? Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I wanted to tell you, I went to the Echo dealer, the chainsaw people in it.
Oh, yeah.
And if you take your tax ID number down there, she gives you 20% off that saw.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care if it's still or echo myself.
Look, and they got a smoking deal, actually.
Okay, which one is it?
Go, like you're going to